Hey guys, what's going on? So I'm back after a 2-month hiatus. I just got really busy, so sorry about that. So today we're making another video about the M5, the E60 M5 voltage regulator. It's been going bad for, I don't know, a couple weeks now. I get random, low charging errors on my car, and now finally I got the Christmas tree panel, everything lit up on my way home from work. And so it is the weekend, it's sunny out, it's only like 55 or something like that, so we got good weather to do this. So let's get going. Okay, so the battery was showing low charge, discharge, and all these other different issues. So I'm trying to get to this while the car is being worked on. That way I can charge the battery. That's why I got it disconnected and run on a battery charger. Just a cheap little one I've had for, probably a decade. So we'll get that disconnected because we are going to be working on the back of the alternator, and if anybody's going to be zapped, it's going to be me. Okay. So this is the unit in question. This is the Vallejo. It was like 45 bucks on eBay. It's an original Vallejo unit. Okay, so the thing is, when you're getting ready to install this, you got to make sure this is protruding upward. You see that little lip? So when you get ready to install it, or you do install it I should say, you push that down, and these little magnetic fingers you can't really see in there right now, they will engage and start to function properly. Okay. So, 3 bolts and a plug. How hard can it be, right? It's more of an access issue. Okay, so let's check that out. Okay, so now that we got the front half of the belly pan up into the jack point, okay, we take that part off. Let me move my light. I know it's not the best lighting, but I'm working on that. So, up here, of course, you can see is the alternator right there. So we got to get this hosing out of the way, this AC hosing. And then we got to drop this sway bar connection, okay, the mount to the actual subframe up here. So we're going to get this squared away, disconnect this, drop the whole thing down, and then we can get our big cake grabber up in the back of this guy to the back of the alternator, because that's all we got to get access to, which is going to be right about there, okay? I don't know if you guys can see this very well. I apologize for the lighting, because in real life it doesn't look that bad. All right, cool. Let's get it going. Okay, let me catch you up. So, on the front of the sway bar, anti-sway bar connection, you have these bolts, okay, 10mm bolts. They're going to go through this hole right here to hold this bracketry in place. And then you got like a, what is this, a AC recirc line, probably for cooling. Same thing over here. This one I put the bolt back in it, and that just mounts up. Cozy, okay? So to get the sway bar out, you got to remember this thing moves side to side all around. So you can jot it around here a little bit to get it off the studs on the bottom, because the top is a bolt. Okay, so now we got all that out of the way. Here's your second drain pan, or your drain plug, if you were ever curious about that. Okay, this is an LCI car, 2010, so I got the main one. Follow the oil spill right there. And then I got this one, and this is like an extra cord or something like that to get out of the engine. So if you want to do like a super purge or whatever. Anyway, neither here nor there. Okay, now the task at hand is going to be to get in there. Okay, so the new one, being a factory original, comes with hardware. You gotta love that. So now we can take a look at our stud size, because it's going to be this one with the little shaft on it. And then these two guys, the regular bolts, okay? So we'll get a fitting on that, a sizing on that, and then we'll take a look at the back of the alternator to verify that we're pulling off the 3 that are needed, just 3, and a plug that pulls out, okay? So once I get there, I'll show it to you. All right, gang, let me catch you up. I got the back of the alternator off. Let me get my bearings here. There's the back of the alternator. I got that plastic cap off. This clip, hands down, the hardest thing to get undone. So, here's what I had to do. Where's the little tool I used? Okay, so with this little R-hook thing, a little right angle hook, you have to get in behind it. So you got to reach up top. I'd show you, but you wouldn't see anything. It's far too cramped. And you got to get the tab underneath that. You see that? And you got to pull it apart and kind of bulge this out to get over the hook that's on the voltage regulator housing. I had it right here. All right, so I'll show you in a minute. I don't have it right here. I left it on the workbench. So you got to lift this to get over it because you're not going to be able to get your fingers in there to push the tab or any of that garbage. It's way, way, way too tight. Okay? To give you an idea, it sits inside of there, so you got to try and get your finger in the top. Hold on, I'm one-handed. Get your finger in the top, and oh, by the way, there's a heat shield in the way, so I had to have my wife help me out in there, and that didn't help out. So what I had to do is get that right angle tool in there and just pop it, and it pop clean off. So hopefully it won't take you an hour to get this sucker sorted out. So all right, next step, let's get the voltage regulator out. All right, guys, so here's what I was talking about. This is the top of the alternator. Okay, just bear that in mind. So this is why I'm doing it here, because you're not going to be able to see it up there mounted. So you have to get the right angle of that tool underneath both clips so that this will pop out. Well, it's a bit of a challenge, even with I'm doing one-handed, so it's a tight fit to boot, so it's not, you know, the easiest thing to get going. There, finally. Okay, so that's what you're trying to overcome, is that little clip, that hook thing on there, okay? So when you get under here, you see you got two sets of clips underneath here. Let me show you. I'm going through all this because this is a pain in the butt. Okay, so you got to get it under here. All right, you see the second clip, or the second part of the clip, not this part here, but under here, see there's another one, and that's what you're trying to manipulate up and over that hook. Okay, see how I moved it? It's hard to tell, I know, but that's what you're trying to do. Okay, pain in the butt. Took me about an hour because I had to figure it out and then come up with a plan to overtake it. So there you go, little word to the wise. Okay, so now that you get the voltage regulator out, it's pretty simple. Okay, this is the new one. Note that it's got this actuator up, and this one is down, and inside you see the little magnetic contacts. Okay, this one, of course, the new one, has not been deployed yet, okay, because this is still, all right, so once I get it on there, you push this part down, and it clicks into place, and those magnetic contacts come out, okay. This is 3 bolts, they're 7 millimeters, super, super simple. They're just regular bolts at that. So you got this one on the bottom, just a regular bolt, these two on the bottom. Okay, so they're going to go through here. All right, and then you got the other kind of two-threaded one that goes in through the top. Okay, and then you put the other one in there, of course. They weren't very tight. I didn't look at torque specs, but I can't imagine it's more than 10. I mean, they were literally just snugged, and that was it. Okay, so once you get that on, then you're going to put the grill back on. Okay, on the back of the alternator, that just snaps right on. So when you pluck it off, it just plucks right off. Then you put that clip back on there and hope that you never have to do this again. Okay, then you got the alternator hot connection, which is that big plastic bolt. And that's pretty much it. Very straightforward. I'm wrapping it up here, kind of the DIY portion, because once you've got to this point, getting this done is actually a very simple thing, okay? So I'll catch you up in the end. Okay, so here we are. Beautiful day today. I took the car out for a test drive last night, then got preoccupied with other things, so now I'm wrapping up my little video here to try and give you maybe a little bit of insight to help out. My car has 92,000 miles on it, and I had alternator-like symptoms, okay? All kinds of random lights coming on. I'd get a low charge malfunction kind of sporadically, no real rhyme or reason behind it. So I knew it was a ticking time bomb on the charge department. So I replaced this, all is well. So I highly recommend this as well, because this is like 40 bucks, and you know, a whole alternator is a couple hundred. So this will buy you some time. Cool. These cars aren't known for their longevity anyway, all right? So let's be real. Okay, so when you install this, think it, see it like this, attached to the back of the alternator. This little hook is going to be your enemy, I guarantee you. So you got to get in top of there with a tool similar to this. Get in top of there right about in the middle and try and lift the tab, and then it pops right off. The problem is trying to get your big man hands in that tiny little space, okay? So do disconnect the sway bar mounts because that will help you, okay? That'll give you a little bit of space. I even disconnected everything else around it just to try and get it out of the way as far as, the 17mm nut and all that stuff. Disconnecting the battery is also a smart move. I took that opportunity to charge mine because it discharged so much from a bad voltage regulator. So by the time I was done, the battery's fully charged. Worked out really well. I get no trouble codes, DTC codes, check engine lights. I don't get any of that stuff now. So that's pretty awesome. So these are 7mm, okay? The one that's a stud with a nut in the middle, that is going to be the top. That's going to go right next to this plug. It's a one-wire plug. And then right above the 17mm battery feed to the alternator, you're going to have these two, or battery feed to the battery, I should say. You're going to have two more 7mm right here, and they're right above that. So you won't see them perfectly well, but you'll get an idea where they're at, and you can feel around and get it, okay? So that they come off pretty easy. The torque is, I got them down snug and gave it a little twist, and that was it. That's about how they came off, so that's about how they went back on. Okay, so far so good. Knock on wood. Pretty straightforward job. I've read that it should take you an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Hopefully, mine took like 2.5 because I had to figure out how to get this undone, and that was such a pain in the butt. So anywho, I wish you the best. Once it's on, make sure you push this button so that these magnets pop out. Because if you do not, you're going to wonder why you have the same problem, honestly. So get it all done, check torque, 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 and then push that in, put the cover on, put the plug in, put the 17mm connector on it, reconnect your sway bars, put the belly pan on, and done. C'est la vie. Life is good again. Tutto bene. Moving on. All right, so that's about it. The big takeaways are, take your time. That plastic is old, hard, and brittle. It's going to crack. You may get some pieces breaking. Fortunately, mine popped right off, but I used like a long screwdriver to carefully pry it off the back of the alternator. And that's about it. So I'll have other videos coming up, I'm sure. We got about another month of this beautiful weather, and then it's going to start snowing, because usually about Halloween is when we get snowing. Get snow around here, so please feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see, or maybe a step in this process that I wasn't able to illustrate, because please bear in mind it's a very, very tight space, so it's really hard to get any kind of video coverage in there. So please let me know. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.